Against the Galamsey's protest against illegal mining. The group has since Thursday been holding a day-long demonstration across Principal Street of Accra, piling pressure on the president to declare state of emergency on all mining activities. Now, the last day of the protest has seen a huge turnout of many personalities, including musicians and social media activists, calling, among other things, the immediate release of members of Democracy Hub who have been denied bail. We'll go live shortly, but first, listen to Director of Business Operations at Daylight Finance, Joe Jackson, criticizing government lack of action on the matter.
Galamsey is not is an existential threat to the Ghana we know it, right? And it's about the lives of not just our children, ourselves. And so it has to be addressed. It has to be dealt with. And we have taken away the financial future of our youth because of the debts we've piled up. We have taken away their financial present because we can't give them jobs. Now we want to take away their health, right? And each one of us, whoever you are, if you hear this, please come out and support these young persons. And I'm here because I just want to show my support. I'm here because this is what they are fighting for is not just for me, it's for my children, it's for my relatives, it's for everybody, for every citizen in Ghana.
Now, on the public score edition of Newsfile this morning, US-based licensed engineer Dr. Juliet Ohime Ntiamwa explains why the country will be left with no option than to spend more for clean water, whether home treatment or importation.
That I want to highlight that the typical water treatment process does not include removal of heavy metals. In actual sense, any water source that is polluted with heavy metals, it's typically not supposed to be used as drinking water source. So a case in point in the US, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Flint, Michigan issue, where they changed the water source to, a different water source that had lead poisoning because it was cheaper, in quotes. Now, all those people who were involved in that had to face, legal consequences. So the main thing I want to highlight that this issue is bigger than the muddy waters we are seeing. Because the muddy waters, we can, let's say with a treatment process, we remove the muddy side or the muddy side or the turbidity, but then there's still residual heavy metals concentration that is not removed by the water treatment process. And to be able to remove that, we would need to add an additional process unit to remove heavy metals. Now that almost will be ×5 the cost of water that people are having. So in effect, we've heard that we could be importing water. It's either we are importing water or we could be paying 5 to 10 times the water that we have to use. And that's because we have to add additional treatment process to it. So from a technical point, that is, for me, I think it's not many people will talk about this aspect of the issue. And so I find it's important to add that voice to it. And then education. Araba mentioned education, and I want to use this point to also highlight a few things I've picked from comments that I've seen online. Someone said, oh, the waters are so dirty, I'm going to have my borehole. Well, borehole connects to surface water. There is what we call water cycle. So having a borehole in your house does not make you immune to the effects of the heavy metals that will percolate or move through the soil to contaminate your water. So that's one form of education I also want to put out there.
On efforts to strengthen flood preparedness, North Tong District has hosted a crucial tabletop simulation exercise in Bato in the Volta region involving the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, World Health Organization, WHO, and the Volta River Authority, the VRA. The exercise named Nongujo 2024 gathered key leaders and stakeholders to evaluate the district's capacity to respond to flood emergencies following last year's flood disaster in the area. There's more in the following report.
Speaking to the media, the deputy coordinator of NADMO, Saji Amadonu, explained that the devastating floods of the previous year served as a catalyst for the event. He emphasized that the primary goal of the exercise was to ensure that the entire district is equipped to respond to flood hazards of all kinds.
What we are basically doing is a tabletop simulation exercise. We are actually simulating a flood contingency plan that NADMO, together with its partners, have been able to develop with the districts downstream the Volta Dam. And today is the turn of the North Town district. So we are actually simulating the North Town flood contingency plan together with the VRA's emergency preparedness plan. Now, what this plan seeks to do is to make sure we get the whole district ready for any eventualities. And this is relating to only the flood hazard. That is all kinds of flood. Any form of flooding is what we are looking at. But anyway, the trigger was the incident that happened last year. In evaluating our processes, that is our after action review, we realized that even though the VRA has an emergency preparedness plan, all the districts downstream the dam did not have a contingency plan. So the protocols in the emergency preparedness plan was kicked into action, but there was no plan to carry out the other activities of the response. But now, what we have, should we have any incident now, what we know, all the coordinating mechanisms will be better prepared. People will be informed early.
The Manklalo of the Mepe traditional area, Togbe Afede Nego, praised the exercise, noting its importance for the community. He remarked that last year's floods could have been less challenging if such preparedness initiatives had been undertaken earlier.
This contingency plan is going to help because the last year's flood, this plan was not put in place. So we faced a lot of difficulty at the time. Once this plan is being put in place, it's going to help in terms of communication. There will be proper communication between the NADMO, VRA, the assembly and the traditional areas. If only the plan, we are able to keep the plan intact, where respective stakeholders are respected and given enough information on time. I think with this, it will not be as difficult as it was last year.
District Chief Executive and Chairman of the District Disaster Management Committee, Divine Osborne Fenu, emphasized the importance of continuously testing the plan.
Yeah, so for us, we will continue to occasionally test this plan so that we are all abreast, the various stakeholders, the traditional authority, the various stakeholders, the disaster management committee. Everybody should be able to play out their roles effectively. And once we cannot test it, we become more familiar with it, so that in case of any such future spillage, we are able to better handle the situation that we did this last year.
With Nonujo 2024, the North Town District has taken a crucial step towards safeguarding lives and properties against flood risks. Ivy Setoji, JoyNews, Bato.
Now, government is being charged to ensure the working conditions of teachers are enhanced across the country to help in retaining the best human resources in the teaching profession. Speaking at this year's Time Education Conference of the school on World Teacher Day, Principal of the Ghana International School, Frank Amponsan-Mensah, underscored the important role teachers play in raising the future generation. He's calling for more attention to the needs of teachers, including necessary tools and proper remuneration. There's more in the following report.
As a young teenager, Cynthia Adigan had dreams of becoming a journalist, enthusiastic about telling stories of the underprivileged. However, life had other plans. Now she is a teacher impacting lives.
My daddy wanted me to become a teacher, even though I wanted to become a journalist. He wanted me to become a teacher because he said his brother was a teacher and the profession was a good one. So he wanted me to also become a teacher. I said, okay, no problem. But the first day I went to the campus, I wept.
Teachers across the world play important roles in training and equipping all professionals with the necessary knowledge and skills needed in developing and shaping society. However, over the years, teachers have been part of the most poorly equipped and remunerated workforce in Ghana. Marking the World Teachers' Day, Principal of the Ghana International School, Frank Amponsah-Mensah, urged government to pay more attention to teachers.
As a society, we must recognize the unique role and contributions of teachers, of educators. They deal with the young people. They are molding their souls, as it were, molding their minds. If we don't pay attention to teachers, they will not be encouraged to give of their best. And that is what we want teachers to do. So every community, no matter how it is, provide them the tools that they need to do their work. And if I may add, provide them with the motivation in terms of remuneration. That also makes it easier for them to continue to do their work. A satisfied teacher is a satisfied student.
This year's Time Education Conference, which is the 8th time the Ghana International School is organizing it, brought together educators across the continent to deliberate on how educators can keep pace with the ever-evolving education system. Principal of GIS, Frank Amponsah-Mensah, says it is the school's way of impacting the society.
GIS has a broad number of things that we want to do. One of them is to make impact in the community. And because of the wealth of experience that we have here among our teachers, what we thought was, why don't we reach out a bit more? GIS has been reaching out to the local community in so many ways, through co-curricular activities for our students, etc. But we realized that this is something that could tap into the expertise and experience of the teachers. So we've organized it over the last few years. We've got a collaboration with the Ghana Education Service that allows them to bring a number of their teachers here so that we have that cross-fertilization amongst ourselves. And educators all over the world have one thing in common: the progress of our students.
Country Director at MasterCard Foundation, Rika Rigamba, expressed confidence the knowledge-sharing nature of the conference will help tutors keep pace with new technologies.
To be able to consistently have it every year as an opportunity to provide professional development for teachers, exchange among different peers, learnings, and also looking at what are the new things. The new things, in this case, the theme today is talking about new knowledge. We know that we have technology that is coming up, artificial intelligence that is here, and so it's important for the teachers.
Some of the participants who spoke to JoyNews say the conference has been helpful in opening them up to new knowledge and methods of teaching.
We just had a session for mental health being, and then I've realized that there are certain things maybe I was doing in a class that now I can, improve it better, especially with students who are hyperactive.
Well, I'm so excited that the world has recognized such a time as this to celebrate us. Going forward, I would say that teachers should be recognized wherever they are, and then incentives, proper incentives made available for teachers to make their lives easier in teaching.
As the world marks Teachers' Day, there's a general consensus that it is important that the role of teachers are appreciated and properly rewarded. Prince Kwame Kuduga's report for Joy News.
You're still watching JoyNews Prime with me, Carlos Caloni. We'll take a short break. We'll return with more. Please stay. Now, welcome back. The Agbogbomafia of the Asogli state, Togbe Afede XIV, has called for a new kind of leadership to drive Ghana's progress. He highlighted greed, corruption, and the scramble for resources, often at the expense of taxpayers and the environment, as key obstacles to the country's development. Togbe Afede suggested that reviewing the extensive powers granted to the president by the 1992 Constitution would be a significant step toward reshaping Ghana's leadership. He made these remarks during the Grand Debate of the 2024 Asogli, Teza in Ho, the capital of the Volta region.
We have a crisis of leadership. Our leaders have become what I call the poor man's boogeyman. We seem to be afraid of them because we can't talk about the bad things that they do. They have been divisive and they have exploited our democracy and our abhorrence of coups. To perpetuate bad governance on our people. Unfortunately, again, all these things are supported. A constitution that has outlived its usefulness. A constitution that has concentrated powers in one person, and that is not good for our country. We are indeed in a crisis, and all of these things that I've talked about are threats to our peace and stability. But as a slave to optimism, I believe we can turn all of these things around. But to require a new agenda led by a new kind of leadership. Leadership that believes in the directive principles of state policy, which requires that the state manages the economy to ensure rapid development, to ensure citizens have the best necessities of life, to ensure all of us opportunity.
Now, MPP Vice Presidential candidate Dr. Matthew Opoku Pree has criticized John Mahama for seeking prayers from religious leaders he recently accused of hypocrisy for praying for the NPP. Speaking at a debate in Afrancho, Efija-Kwabre South in the Ashanti region, Dr. Opoku Pree expressed shock at Mahama's actions, highlighting the National Democratic Congress's ongoing disregard for traditional leaders and poor governance. He highlighted the NPP's accomplishment, contrasting them with the NDC, and noted the significant advances made by the successive NPP governments.
Dr. Matthew Opoku Pree, popularly known as Napo, the running mate to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, energized a grand debate in Efija-Kwabre South, rallying strong support for the NPP ahead of the December elections. Napo stressed the vital role of traditional and religious leaders in the NPP's success, emphasizing the need for their blessings and support. He, however, criticized the NDC for what he described as its poor governance records.
Okasano, Nanu, Nojo, Hilibia Hilti, the bois, Obia, Nanin Salian, Obia Umbuno. Obia only ni se obey obi papa no, and that's Obia the Japa David Kruno, Crow Bound the day. That's a penny will fear. And they will be good senpai bar when they bang of go away.
Obey any abay or bar, or didn't put you there, a bomb. And then abay or bar, or so to a shattered there, the beer do I obey or that was. Hospital existing a shattered there before starting in the end or to us. A car coin po, or so the car for a car coin swap. Young two man into your name. And no big star cut yourself down, they are something year, and now shattered you. Now, Chidia, now do cocoa to fire and running our back.
During his campaign tour in Afrancho and Buaman, Dr. Matthew Opoku Pree further highlighted the NPP's accomplishment, contrasting them with the NDC's, and noted the significant advances made by successive NPP government.
Opoku National Health Insurance, Omucha free maternal care, and then collect goes to Musebu. I don't know what the teacher, you know. What is the cow or what you have done to chop Brian and then not try.
Now, away from that story, the chairperson of the Microcredit Association of Ghana, Wilberforce Ofori, has expressed concern about the increase in what he calls unlicensed digital and online learning platforms in the country. According to Mr. Ofori, the Bank of Ghana in June this year warned about over 97 unlicensed loan applications, and the Cybersecurity Authority's efforts including nearly 400 arrests, and noted that despite these developments, these operations persist. So Pree revealed that these unregulated activities pose a serious risk to the integrity of the financial sector.
One area of concern that I must highlight is the rise of unlicensed digital and online lending operations. These activities pose significant risk to consumers and undermine the integrity of our sector. I caution all members to desist from engaging in such operations and urge our stakeholders to work together to address this issue and protect the reputation of the industry.
That's all we have in this bulletin. You can log on to myjoyonline.com for more stories. My name is Carlos Caloni. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening.